Hey everybody, I'm back again with another video. This time I'm reviewing the Lover's Leap Trail near Camp Sacramento in Kyburz, California. I'm going to go through the difficulty of the trail, some of the scenery of the trail, and if it's worth taking. Anyway, let's get started with the video. Okay, so in order to get the Lover's Leap path, you'll find this sign. You have to go down, over, into cabin 52, and that's the trailhead. Alrighty, so you need to make your way through Camp Sacramento. Now, in the summertime, it is occupied. I believe there's some summer camps going on, but it's no big deal. They know the trailhead is on the backside, so you just have to walk through. And once you find cabin 52, you'll see a pole with a sign that basically says, "Trail this way." So once you look to the right, there is the trailhead. You can start off on the path. There is a lot of shade in this first portion of the trail. Lots of trees. So sunscreen is debatable whether you really need to do it, because I would say that 3/4 of the way up you're going to have a lot of shade. It's when you start to get near the plateau that the trees thin out and there's a lot more sun. And as you can see here, it's a little bit wet down here. There's some small babbling creeks. I would recommend that you bring some mosquito repellent, because there is some mosquitoes in this area. Not so much near the top, but around this area there are some mosquitoes. The terrain itself is pretty flat. Pretty good footing. It's just some dirt with a few granite rocks here and there, but the terrain does change vastly once you start getting a little bit higher up into the mountains. Here's a little water feature, a little babbling brook, and it is quite nice, but like I said, there are some mosquitoes in this area, so I would recommend just spraying a little bit of mosquito repellent on you. But it's quite cool and very serene. And like I said, there's lots of shade and lots of trees in this area. The higher you get onto the plateau, you will see that it starts to thin out. And if you look off into the distance, you can see a small waterfall that is up in the mountains across the way. The terrain is now starting to get a little bit rockier, a little bit more like shale rocks, and it is starting to get much steeper in the terrain. So once you start getting near the top of the mountain, you'll see that it's spreading out, thinning out. You're getting more granite rock and much more dust. So if you want to bring like maybe a bandana or something like that to filter out the dust, if you have problems with that. And the altitude does bring up the heart rate a little bit. So I would rate this trail as probably medium in difficulty. There is some terrain challenges. It does go uphill for a good portion of it, and as long as you're in pretty decent shape, it shouldn't be too bad. I would not recommend bringing small kids, just because of the fact that up at the top there are some drop-offs, but it should take you about an hour to reach the top of the trail. So once you reach the top, you'll see a sign that basically states that this is the Lover's Leap Trail. And it's really cool up here. This plateau, you can see all around you, all the mountain ranges, and down into this town of Strawberry from up here. And it's really flat. As you can see, there's a bunch of stacked rocks left around by other people who've come up here. And there's a bunch of cliffs that you can just sit off of and have a nice lunch or a snack up here. It's awesome the views that you can get from this location, and well worth the hike up here. Now let's check out the sheer drop off that is here. So we started off around 9 o'clock in the morning doing the hike. So we got up here around 10 a.m., which we generally try to do this because this area can get kind of hot. It was only about 78, maybe 80 degrees in the morning. And by the time we got up to the top, we were ready to scout a location and get a nice place to take our lunch. But as you can see, beautiful scenery everywhere you look. This is where we decided to have lunch. This little tree off here, there's some nice little rocks to sit on the edge there, and there is some lower rocks so you won't fall all the way down. So I took a snapshot of my Apple Watch. It looks like we made it up in just under an hour. I burned 262 calories. My heart rate actually went up to 117, so it is a pretty decent climb, and it was just under a mile and a half. So now it's time to leave Lover's Leap. It was definitely a cool climb. I would highly recommend this for people who love hiking. Once again, I would not recommend it for people with small children or any kind of strollers or anything like that, because it's a little bit dangerous at the top. But let's just head down, and it's always faster to go down. I don't know if you ever noticed that. Actually, I'm putting it in quick speed, but I wanted to just pass through the terrain one more time, show you that it goes from the sunny top to the shady middle. So let's just check out the scenery and get back to Camp Sacramento. Okay, so we're back at the trailhead in Camp Sacramento. One quick note, there is not any parking down here except for 3 little spots. So when you come to the outer part of Camp Sacramento, there will be some parking across the highway on Highway 50, and there'll be another trailhead. That's where we parked, and that is the easiest place to park. Then you just cross Highway 50 and get into Camp Sacramento itself. So this was a really cool hike. I highly recommend it. It is definitely a moderate level hike. It's not super hard, not super easy, a great day hike. I would recommend though that you bring some snacks, food, plenty of water, as it is quite dusty near the top and not as much shade near the top. So maybe bring some sunscreen also. Definitely bring some mosquito repellent, bug spray. It can have a few mosquitoes on this trail since there is some water feature areas on the way up. Anyway, that's my review of the Lover's Leap Trail. Hope you like it. If you did, please click like. If you really liked it, please subscribe. It helps the channel out. And also, click that bell to see my latest videos. I'm out of here. It's time to go outdoor it. Later.